Hey, what's up, card fighters? This is gonna be like a not too quick of a deck profile because I'm gonna go into what I feel like SHOJODOJI is in this current set 12 meta and what you want to be doing with the deck. But the deck builds itself really. You just max out on all the good stealth cards. Or the good SHOJODOJI stealth cards. So, without further ado, we're going to get into the profile. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you guys think about the commentated match videos. That's a big one that I'm fishing out into the water right now. So if you like them, tell me why you like them. If you don't like them, tell me why you don't like them, etc., etc. And, yeah, let's get into the profile. We're playing the SHOJODOJI ride line just because of, it's the SHOJODOJI deck, so it was made for him. It meshes really well with the stealth cards in the deck, and if you're able to like just fully resolve this this ride line, you're able to deck thin 4 cards, which is just insane. It's not like a real plus. It's more of just like you're just thinning out cards to set up for your grade 3 combo turns. But I'm getting on to the grade 3s. 3 copies of Persona Ride. I haven't felt like I've needed the Chalice or Forbital for that matter, because the only grade 3s I run are SHOJODOJI himself and Unpresident, which I'm gonna get into right now. 4 copies of Unpresident. This is your main beat stick, and as often as possible, you want to search him out. You want to search him out first and make sure you're able to set him up into the soul first. Because after you set up like an Unpresident or 2 into the soul, that you're able to then set up into the bind zone, everything else is just kind of like gravy after that. Everything else feels secondary. Like, this is the main stealth card that you do want in soul. So, and then again, 3 copies of Persona Ride. Persona Ride is just very searchable in this deck. So I didn't feel like I need the cup or I need Forbital to search out my Unpresidents, because again, it's very searchable and recurable in the deck. Because we do have a grade 1 card that allows you to soul charge stealth units from the drop zone. But getting on to the grade 2s, I should really learn this guy's name. This is like the best card in the deck. Stealth Fiend Aizahu. So we're playing 4 copies of Stealth Fiend Deer, because this guy has deer antlers. Man, this is a house of a card right here. This is like your bread and butter. This is the best card in your deck. Because not only does it do the top 5 search to add any stealth unit, a normal stealth unit, I might add any normal stealth unit from that top 5 to your hand, which with this card, I built this deck specifically for this card. My preferable adds are Persona Ride and Perfect Guards. And then like his secondary ability is like just as good as his first. That when you do soul charge him for your Vanguard's effect, you could tuck a unit that's you bound in your opponent's bind zone on the bottom of their deck, and it gives your Vanguard 5k. So what a problem that this deck used to have was that the Vanguard swing, besides Persona Ride turns, you didn't make anything better than 21, and now you're just able to consistently have a threatening Vanguard column as long with threatening rearguard columns because of Unpresident. Which I also want to say that you can get Unpresident off the grade 2 of the ride line and draw on turn 2. Doing that combo feels so good. And you don't even care if your opponent retires it or attacks it anymore, because again, it's recurable from the drop zone. And then for the rest of my grade 2s, I'm playing 3 of the grade 2 stealth promo. In Japan, what I've noticed is a lot of SHOJODOJI lists that I've looked at. Well, this is post set 13. But they're running only 2 of this guy, and I can really see why. This kind of feels like the worst card in my deck. Like, don't get me wrong, when you resolve the multi-attack, it's still good. But this is like the card that I search last, because again, everything is just so easy to search in this deck, and you can even discard this and not even feel too bad about it, because again, you can get stealth units from drop zone. But yeah, just 3 copies of it. I would play less. I would probably cut it down to 2, so I guess you could cut 1 more and either play a Forbital or you could play the Chalice if you really wanted to. I don't think this deck needs it, in my personal opinion right now. And then this guy is Chain Guy, Stealth Rogue Chain Guy. So 4 copies of Chain Guy, at first glance, at least from my perspective. At first glance, this looked like it was better than the Grade 2, but the Grade 2 is just infinitely better than Chain Guy. You're not really too worried about resolving its draw effect. You more so care about its effect to soul charge a stealth unit from the drop zone on place. That's like, ooh, I was able to pull off some bread and butter combos with that, like discard on President for ride, soul charge on President, and then bind on President from the soul with SHOJODOJI's effect. Man, and the fact that SHOJODOJI targets circles so it can get rid of pesky interceptors. Man, I am privileged that I got the chance to play this deck, man. Yeah, and it's actually not that expensive. Your most expensive card is this, and arguably you don't need more than 3 or 2 copies. So yeah, just like a really cheap and good deck that's gonna get guaranteed support in set 13. What's not to love? And then 4 copies of Forktail. Again, like, this deck just deck thins insane. The amount of deck thinning this deck has access to is just crazy. You deck thin 4 off the, think about this for a second. You deck thin 4 off the ride line. The Grade 2 is a deck thin when you resolve his effect. Forktail is a deck thin. This deck just, it's almost impossible for you not to see all your pieces. You might not resolve this guy more than like once or twice, just because we don't have access to the counter charger yet. That's a promo that we just haven't gotten yet here on in TCG. But because this costs a counterblast, you really do want to just, and your promo also costs a counterblast if you do want to do the multi-attack. I haven't resolved him more than like twice in one game, so I really do just hold this for last, and I prefer to just use my counterblast for my Vanguard's effect to get my multi-attack and draw if I'm President, and his effect to add, just for follow-up and guard. And which the last card that we're running is, again, this is another proponent of a cheap deck. Not that DPGs are expensive right now, but 4 stealth PGs. Now I know these aren't DPGs and these are just regular PGs. And you can even cut a stealth PG if you really wanted to for the Blitz order, if you feel like you really need the Blitz order. But the way I play this deck is, my first priority is to add Persona Rides and to add Perfect Guards to this deck. And I understand that these aren't DPGs, but I have like not like a system, but my mentality while I'm playing this deck is, any time that I would just throw down 2 15s, or I would throw down like a 20 and a 15, and I have an extra Perfect Guard in hand, I burn the Perfect Guard first, so I don't put myself in a situation to where my hand is clogged with Perfect Guards and I can't resolve one. So that's my general mentality with playing regular Perfect Guards, just for the namesake of being searchable. Just like the Monster Girl deck, I forget her name right now. Just like her, that you're able to search the Monster Perfect Guard, you're able to search the Stealth Perfect Guard. But yeah, 4 copies of that. In Japan, they're like running like a 2-2 split, like 2 DPG, like 1 to 2 copies of this, and then 1 Blitz PG. I would just prefer the consistency of just having to add hard PG, or like hard adding Perfect Guards to my hand. I really like that. Adding Perfect Guards is very strong in this format, just because of how like shotgunny this format is right now. And then for my non-engine, this is all engine. Believe it or not, this is all engine. For my non-engine, I have a 4-card slot for non-engine, and what I am running here is the discard to ride. You don't use his second effect because you never call this to board. You never have to. But you don't use the second effect, but the discard to ride, the cycle to draw card, is really good in this deck. Especially after you deck thin, and plus getting that draw. And it's not really a hindrance either, because this deck, it builds soul. It builds more soul than it knows what to do with, which kind of feels like I don't know if there's like a card I can find that like does something with the amount of soul this deck can make. The ride line though, like recurring the 1 and the 2 from the bind zone off when you bind them off your soul is also very nice. I haven't found that I need to run more than 1 copy of the Grade 1 and Grade 2 SHOJODOJI, just because again, if they get killed, they can go back to bind very easily because of the Grade 1 chain stealth fiend. So yeah, that's my current mentality with it, and this makes running regular PGs feel like a whole lot better in my personal opinion, because it makes it so that it's easier for you to maintain a healthy card hand, to whereas you're not going to be put in a scenario of like, damn, I can't resolve a perfect guard. I've actually had scenarios where I didn't have a perfect guard, not can't resolve one, just didn't have one. But yeah, getting on to the triggers here. Now, we do have access to stealth triggers now. We have 4 regular stealth heals. You guys know how I feel about effect heals. I'm not going to go over it. 4 stealth crits. 4 vanilla crits. Again, this deck builds mad soul, and I haven't found a good enough reason to put in the into soul crits. I would rather have the 5k boosters if needed. These are good too. For some weird reason, if you don't have access to any other stealth units to Superior Call, you have stealth triggers, I guess. I don't know. I guess it's better to... It doesn't hurt your deck, so it's better to have it and not need it, and to need it and not have it, but you could really run any trigger here. It doesn't really matter. I do not recommend draw triggers. You go through the deck way too fast. You will deck out. Especially since 3 fronts, because I just said I'm not running draws, and then 1 of the Dragon Empire OT. So we're still playing the Dragon Empire OT in this version of SHOJODOJI, is because SHOJODOJI's multi-attack skill isn't once per turn. So you have to be under the right set of circumstances, but if you do hit the OT, you also have the opportunity of getting a second Superior Call attack. And yeah, that's the deck. I really did want to do this this deck profile, just because from what I've seen online, there hasn't been too many AC cuts off. There hasn't been too many updated SHOJODOJI lists past set 8. And that's really unfortunate, because in set 11, like, this deck peaks. Like, I actually think this is a very competitively viable deck. Does it have weaknesses? Yes. It doesn't like getting rushed. It likes to rush. It doesn't like getting rushed. And it doesn't like it when you clean up its board. It does have answers if you try to clean up its board, but it generally doesn't like it when you touch its board, because it then has to expend more resources to rebuild the board next turn. But yeah, that's my SHOJODOJI deck profile, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think about this deck down below. What you're running, what you're not running. If you thought this was like a really cool idea. And like I said, if you don't care for the PGs, you can run whatever PGs you want. Triggers, you can run whatever you can run any triggers you want. The triggers don't matter. Besides the fronts, because again, draws would you deck out this, like, no bro, don't do that to yourself. But yeah, guys, you have a good night.